I should have wore another kind of suit.
Are you the original man in black?
In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sonships of millions and trillions of years, he who made time, the seed of the universe. He's known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansal, Yahweh, Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribe as Olodumare, Obatala, and many other Orisha gods. But I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one, Almighty God. And it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, those children of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are that lost 13 tribe, born here in North America, and we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace in many languages of our fathers of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habarigani, Alafia, and Ashe. All greeting words and salutations of peace in the many different languages of our fathers. I greet you in peace. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Aton Nation, aka Temple of Mercy Association, located at 616 East on 71st Street, right here in Chicago, Illinois. I am Brother Minister Rahim Chesed Aton, founder of this great movement, the Aton Nation, along with the co-founder, Brother Minister Omari Jahi Aton, and the First Lady of this movement, our very own Sister Makita Aisha Aton. Welcome again to this occasion, another Sunday, another day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Well, as you know and been knowing since if you've been following us, is that we do a series during the whole year, recognizing many people that came before us and just a few that are still around today. Each and every one of those prescribed readings, they were chosen because we actually mirror most of what we're bringing to you. And this month, you should know, is a month that we recognize three different situations. One, this is National Black Business Month, August. The whole month of August, National Black Business Month, in honor of Dr. Webb Evans, Mr. by Black. It was set up by State Rep LaShawn Ford. And so because he bought that to, I think, Springfield, and they accepted it as a resolution. And he was asked to get this done by a brother that represents a part of the UBAPA, Brother Reven Fellows. And because of him, every August, we're celebrating National Black Business Month in honor of Dr. Webb Evans, founder of the United Black American Progress Association. But not only that, it is also a month where we celebrate, where we recognize, where we observe a Black nationalist in our day and time that did a lot for us as a people, and we don't want it to be forgotten. His name is the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And I'm going to bring you some information in these 30 minutes or less that you might know why this history is being erased from the minds and the hearts of Black people throughout the world because of what he did in the 20s, the 1920s, when at that time, Black people were afraid to look white people in the face. They were afraid to look them in the eye. At that time, even though we were assigned to our little parts of the city, in Harlem, we had the Harlem Renaissance, and we had a certain area along 114th Street on down, a little strip that we called ours. Here in Chicago, we had a little strip that we called ours, and we couldn't go too far left or right because if we wound up in the white neighborhood, we would get beat to death or something, or hung or whatever. So back then, at that time, you kind of walked lightly when it came to being around some white people and making white people upset by you trying to be independent and trying to do something for yourself, and they ain't got nothing to do with it. They will not allow that. They had already created an organization of Negroes and Negropeans that bowed and ducked and tap danced at their beck and call under an organization called NAACP. And I know people don't like me to say things like that, but I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the Toma Nation is a nationalist movement. See, we believe in having our own nation. We believe in having our own government, our own everything. We believe in doing for self. We believe in creating jobs, not just looking for jobs. We believe in working hard to make sure that we are not making sure that we are not caught up in this rat race that most of our people caught up in and are involved in, which is constantly begging white people to do for us things that we should and can do for ourselves. We are not, Toma does not advocate fighting hard to beg white people to do something for us that we should do for ourselves. And so I'm going to read some things concerning Marcus Garvey that you may not have known. And I'm going to make sure I point out some things where we in Toma are on the same page. So let's go there, y'all. Y'all ready? If y'all ready, say yeah. Yeah. Say yes, yes. Yes, yes. Amen. All right. First, this man in 1920, between 1920 and 1930, had 4 million followers. How? Marcus Garvey, he incorporated the Universal Negro Improvement Association as a business corporation in New York City on July the 2nd, 1918. 3 years later, in 1921, Marcus Garvey's UNIA following grew to 4 million, and each of them had stock in his organization to purchase steamships. These followers were actually investors who bought the UNIA's corporate stock to contribute to the 100% Black-owned business corporation. Brothers and sisters, if you want to know something about Garvey, please pick up this book called Race First. The other book that you might want to read is called The Philosophies and Opinion of Marcus Garvey. Moving right along. Black people all around the globe invested their hard-earned money into the UNIA because the Garveyite movement differed from other Black organizations who only seemed to explain the problems that prevailed in the Black community. Y'all know about people that do that? All we do is say what the problem is all day long, but hardly ever talking about the solution. But yet some of us say the problem and talk about the solution, but never do the solution. You showing me that? Why you showing me that? You want me to give you my code? I see. That can't happen, but thank you anyway. Anyway, so Toma, we are one of those different organizations. We don't just talk about the problem. We tell what the solution is. We bring that solution to the table of other activists. And if they don't buy into it, we do it ourselves. That's how Toma operates. The Garvey movement was about executing actionable business to serve as the foundation of a self-reliant community. Yes, Toma advocates a self-reliant community. Circulating the black dollar, buying black. The UNIA had an assortment of businesses, such as the Black Star Line Steamship Company. Brothers and sisters, this is 1920. See, when you look at all that we did, listen at it. Newspaper publications, a manufacturing business, restaurants, grocery stores, laundromats, a black doll factory, printing press, tailoring business, even a hotel. Now, we don't have all that, but we got two major organizations that we can look at and pattern ourselves after where we don't have to go wrong. See, we have the UNIA and we have the Nation of Islam. And what can be the black man's excuse today for still begging the white man to get us out of the condition when we got two organizations who shows us and showed us that we can function and be self-reliant? So what is our problem? So now, Garvey believed the world made it a crime to be black, and that self-love was the key to instilling self-pride and inspiring the black race into action. I wish I could blow this up, but this is Garvey with one of his young people, and she's holding a black doll. You see how long ago that was when he was pushing something like that? And when they took him out the picture, that stopped. Then years later, they tried to bring it back again. And then it stopped again. Now we're back to showing black images to our children again, but they're now trying to mix those black images with pregnant men and black dolls dressed like men, girls dressed like men. See, they trying to play like they're accepting us having a black doll, but here's the way we're going to accept it. And because there's not enough of us standing up and saying enough is enough, and we're not going to take it no more, and whatever it takes to show you that we mean business, we going to show you. We ain't got nobody like that. All we got is a bunch of complaining people. Now, either we can open our doors, and if there's some of you out there that want to come in and be a part of this nationalist movement to make change, I'm not the type of leader that believes in people standing behind me. In this day and time, we believe in you walking with the leader and not behind the leader. See, back then, we were all used to this standing behind their leader. No, you stand with this one, and we're going to do this thing together. So now, I read a little more because time is moving. I'm trying to get to a point here. So it says, Garvey launched a black doll company so little black girls could see beauty reflected in the toys that they played with. Garvey was also a poet. He was a prolific political playwright. The UNIA also coordinated black beauty pageants for black women of every shade. Marcus Garvey believed in black love and married a black woman. The UNIA was pretty big during the Harlem Renaissance. Read a little bit more so you can understand something. Let's look at Malcolm X. Y'all remember Malcolm X? Did you all know that Malcolm X's father was a member of the Garvey movement? A lot of people didn't know that. Excuse me. A lot of people didn't know that. But his father was a member of the Garvey movement. But at that time, Garvey had been deported to England, London, and the movement was going underground because the government had said that they were going to arrest any person who had a Marcus Garvey ID on them. And so they started being quiet and whispering it because they didn't want to go to jail. And it says his father was an active member and official in the UNIA, which would have a significant impact on the future Malcolm X. Earl Little, his father, was a Garveyite and a preacher who would host UNIA meetings at his house. Earl Little's UNIA ideas of a separate and self-reliant Black community was seen as a threat to those in power. On September 28, 1931, Earl Little was murdered, found run over by a streetcar in Lansing, Michigan. Earl Little lived through the excruciating pain and was found barely alive on the streets in Lansing. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Malcolm's father was allegedly murdered by the Black Legion, which was a racist terrorist group that was located in Michigan. How you doing, Brother Lionel? So now we know that Marcus Garvey's father, not Marcus Garvey, excuse me, Malcolm X's father was a member of the UNIA. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that when he was a child, and I forgot where he said was at his mother's house or father's house, where he or uncle, he saw a picture of Marcus Garvey on the wall, his mother's house. And he said he looked at him and he wanted to get closer. So he got up in a chair so he can get close to where he was at. And he looked at him and he asked his mother about him. And then when he found out that he was dead, after finding out who he was, he said he felt bad about it, you know. In other words, Marcus Garvey had influence over a lot of people in 1920 during a time when people were afraid to look white people in the eye. Yes. They even had a thing where this is during that time, when white people walked down the street and you on the same street with them, same side of the street, you got to walk in the street. That was 1920, 1921 to 1930. Welcome, my brother. Alaikum salam, sir. And so we're looking at a situation here where Garvey, again, I'm showing you. My point is just to show you that we stand on the shoulders here in Toma of some major heavy hitters who were nationalists. Garvey also met with the Ku Klux Klan. And the people used it, and when I say people, I'm gonna say a couple of names, NAACP being one. They used it to spread propaganda to say that Garvey was meeting with the Ku Klux Klan, making deals with them in some kind of way. And usually, when you're doing something different than those around you who are going along with business as usual, most times they watch you and they watch you closely. And I'm not talking about the white man now, I'm talking about us. Watch you so closely to look for some flaws somewhere so that when you get ready to confront them, to ask them why you still in the condition you in, kissing up to white folks, looking for them to get you out of a condition that they are actually prospering from. And then once you come and address that and tell them that, they already start looking at your little faults that they done pulled up and try to skate. I think Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called it deceptive intelligence. Yes. Yes. Trying to rationalize your indecent behavior. That's what happens with our people. Because they, even though they may want to be a part of the movement, they're not bold enough to be in the movement because they have gotten to a certain level in their life, some level of standard of living that they do not want to lose. Yes. So I'm going to read a little bit of Garvey's writing so you can kind of see where his head was at back at that time, during that time. He was a bold black man. And again, this month is dedicated to the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Whether y'all know it or not, October is dedicated to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, so y'all can come back during that time too and check us out. Oh, we got a whole year of stuff. Y'all just don't know us. Lack of cooperation in the Negro race. This is something Garvey wrote. This is from his book, Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. He said, it is so hard, so difficult to find men who will stick to a purpose, who will maintain a principle for the worth of that principle, for the good of that purpose. And if there is a race that needs such men in the world today, God Almighty knows it is the race of which I am a member. The race needs men of vision and ability, men of character, and above all, men of honesty. And that is so hard to find. That's one thing. The price of leadership. Read one more right quick. Those of us who are blazing the way in this new propaganda of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, and I mean at that time, he was getting it from blacks and whites. Whether you knew it or not, and I have to say it because it's always us that's blocking for the real enemy, you know. And it's hard, you know, we say this a lot of times. You cannot tell the history of the Jews and leave the Germans out. That's impossible. So how do you expect us to tell the history of black people and leave white people out? Come on, man. That's impossible. But they think that we should. I'm talking about the Jews do. Think that we should. So in that same sense, when we start talking and exposing this enemy, we got black people again. And at that time with Garvey, it was Senstack from the Chicago Defender. It was W.E.B. Du Bois of the NAACP. When Garvey came to Chicago, almost just like with Martin Luther King, the mayor at that time said, if anybody sing with Garvey, then you're going to lose your job or whatever it is you got going for yourself in this city. I'm telling you all, if you ain't willing to die for a cause, your life ain't worth living. If you just sit around and meet, and I'm saying it not dealing with no history, I'm talking about today. All of these meetings that I go to, and everybody coming there with their eagle hat on. And I remember the last thing I said at a meeting, and I stopped going after that. And this was just about 2 or 3 months ago. I said, if we want to have a meeting on unity, I'm saying that we should come to the table and remove all titles. All titles. I say we should only be addressing one another as brother and sister. Not even mister, just brother and sister. Do you know I had 4 people to speak against that? But I found out why. Those titles make them who they are. You take the title, you took the person. And that's a shame. That's a shame. That you really don't know who you are as a black man, man of God. Matter of fact, bigger than that. If we're his children, we are God's. So if the black man being God, that's the greatest title you could hold. I don't know a better title. You know, and I said, if you can't do that, then this meeting is over because we're still caught up in ourselves, and we can't move self out the way to look at the issue and then get the job done behind it. Can't do it. And we don't want to let go of titles. We don't want to let go of whatever, some philosophy we might have, you know. So I can't sit in the room with you because you keep saying black. You can't get past that. I can't sit in the room with you because you keep calling him Jehovah, and he's not Jehovah. He's Yahweh. No, he's Allah. No. Okay. How about him being the same entity that got your life and your death in his hand, that can take it from you and give it back when he get ready at will? How about submitting to that higher power that have that kind of power over you? Why would you be concerned about a name when it comes to something, an entity of that magnitude? Why? If you took your life right now, you couldn't get it back. And he wouldn't care what your religion is.
Come on, man.
I done did over 500 funerals.
Come on, man.
Maybe say it right because somebody thought I eulogized 500. I prayed at over 500 funerals. And they all laid out the same, stretched out. They didn't care what their religion was. They didn't care what their philosophy was. They didn't care if they believed in God or not. They land right here. What's wrong with you, black man? What's wrong with you, black woman? Why can't we come together? Why when we come to meetings, y'all ever been to meetings like this? Here's another meeting I can't stand. You come to a meeting, you bring a few people with you, and you all talking about leadership or unity. And every person that talk is talking to one of the people you brought with you, trying to recruit them over to their side.
Come on, man.
You ever been in meetings like that?
Come on, man. Come on, man. Yes.
My thought was, if I'm coming to a meeting like that, we should be coming to a meeting discussing with one another how we going to deal with the masses out there. Not the few in this room, but now y'all really getting to see why I had stopped coming to a lot of meetings. See, because if we want to really get something done, and I just love the brothers, especially my two brothers here today, because they know how to rise above, not conflict, what would I call it? Titles, labels, and religious differences. And see exactly what the challenge is of a people, not a person, but a people. It ain't about the person. And when you get people like that, it's got to be a lot of us that understand that type of concept in order to reach out and really make a real change. See, a real change. The fear that we have as a people, and I know I got 5 more minutes. The fear that we have as a people was instilled in us by our open enemy. By our open enemy. Brothers and sisters, I'm not afraid to say the white man or call him a devil or call him Satan or whatever. Because we say it this way in Aton. We say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the white man is the devil. And then Martin Luther King showed you. Didn't he? Every time you turned the television on, he was showing you he was a devil. He didn't even know he was working for that. He didn't even know he was helping Elijah out. Unknowingly. When they were putting the water hose on them and beating them and dogs biting them. Ain't nobody gonna treat a people like that but a devil. So we say Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you and Martin Luther King showed you. That's the way we see it. And so we can't dismiss what happened to us because it's still happening. In Mississippi, they still hanging black people. I'm talking about 2023. They still hanging black people. Down in other southern states, black people leave out to go to the store and missing. So there is no big major difference between when Garvey was here, Elijah, and now. It's no big change. It's not. You'll say, well, we got a whole lot of artists, entertainers that are doing real good. Well, back then they had Marian Anderson. They had Paul Robeson. Remember? Living real good. So come on, hey, what's the difference? So we need to wake up, brothers. We need to wake up, sisters. We got work to do. Now I'm going to read a little bit more.
We invite you and your family to join us live every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street at our new time from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and on Facebook from 12:30 to 1 p.m. If you have enjoyed what you have heard, please feel free to support us with a monetary gift on Cash App at $TOMANATION. Once again, that's $TOMANATION.